Hey everybody, it's Dr. John. I'm with Bnxtlvl Health, and today we're actually going to be talking about a movement method masterclass. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to design your own workout plans that match your goals, your schedule, and your personal or unique needs. So bear with me. Before we get into this, I just want to tell you a little bit more about me, who I am, and what I do. So at the current moment, I am actually a doctor of chiropractic. I'm an associate doctor here in the state of Michigan, and that actually gives me a lot of time to focus on some other things that I'm passionate about, which is communication and teaching. So I want to help communicate and teach people to live happier, healthier lifestyles. And one way of doing that is helping people just move better, right? Create a custom plan for you that helps you get moving in a way that you don't feel like you don't know where to start, because I think I'm a lot like people when it comes to having aspirations, having dreams, having goals, but sometimes in life you just don't know where to start and you need someone to hold your hand a little bit. Been there, done that. So through my failures and of course through my education, I hope to help save you guys a bunch of time. And that's what it's all about, right? Time is everything. So bear with me. Now, Bnxtlvl Health focuses on three pillars of health. I believe physical health, meaning whether movement is medicine. So, utilizing physical activity to help get you to your goals. And of course, nutritional health, that'll probably be a whole nother lecture. The second pillar of health that I like to focus on is mental health. I believe mental health is a big, probably missing key to that puzzle that a lot of practitioners or clinicians aren't necessarily focusing or dialing in on. So that's another part that I want to talk about, is helping you guys overcome certain belief patterns, self-doubt, self-sabotage, and just help you overcome some barriers in your mind that is stopping you from making the necessary changes, right? Been there, right? So I want to help you through my own failures and of course through my education, to save you guys time, because time is everything. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, we're going to be talking about some of these topics. So we know that setting your goals, it needs to be specific, right? Goals have to be specific. You can't just come in and say, I just want to lose weight, or I just want to be fit. I believe that you have to be more specific with that. So that's why we're going to be talking about some SMART goals. And of course, we're going to be talking about the SAID principles. And that's really just talking about how your body adapts to impose demands that you put on them. So then we'll talk about workout splits. So whether you're working out 3 days a week, 6 days a week, and whether you're doing upper, lower, full body, core workouts, cardio, we'll talk about all of that today. And then before we jump into the details, I just want to kind of clarify, what does it really mean to set a goal that motivates you, and keep you on track? So let's get right into it, you guys. Here we go. So what's a SMART goal? I'm going to say this right now. Most people fail at fitness because why? Because their goals are too vague. So think of it this way. If someone just says, I want to get fit, it's not enough. I've had clients or friends actually tell me, I just don't want to I'm sick of being fat. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. So you're telling, you think that you're going to be able to make a change if you're straight just going to the negativity side of things, beating yourself up constantly and not having a specific goal of how you're going to achieve this. You don't want to be fat anymore. What does that mean? So let's be specific. Maybe it's, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I just want to increase my physical activity by walking 5,000 steps in a day. That's specific. So here's a good example. I've had a client that said, I want to run a 5K without knee pain. Now, that's a great goal, but now we have to talk about the specificity and is it measurable? So 5K, right? There's a distance to that. It's about 3 miles. And how much time are you wanting to run it in? Is there a specific time? 38 minutes, 40 minutes? So that's more measurable there. And is it attainable? If you're someone who's never ran a 5K, you got a 5K this weekend and you're trying to run it after a knee sprain, well, that might be a little non-realistic for you. So now we're talking about the attainability of that. If it's in 8 weeks, we have a time bound to it, and we know that we can achieve that in 8 weeks because we have time to prepare for it. And it's relevant to you, especially if you're not just a beginner, but you've ran a few 5Ks in your lifetime. You kind of know what to expect. I hope that makes sense. And the SAID principle, I really like this. The SAID principle really comes down to, we want to reverse engineer the exact steps to get to where you need to succeed. So SAID principle, you need to talk about how your body adapts specifically to the imposed demands we place on them. So when it comes down to, let's say you see down here Wolff's Law or Davis's Law. Wolff's Law represents the imposed demands you put on bone to get them to adapt. So if you want to get stronger bones, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to do some weight bearing activities. Now, if you're someone who suffers from arthritis or osteopenia, osteoporosis, which is bone softening, well, we're not going to be doing some high impact plyometrics right away to reach your goals, because that will actually do more damage than it would good. So we have to, slowly get into there, into that weight bearing activity to build it up. And we'll get into that in just a minute. So a little bit, what else do I want to talk about here? The Davis's Law. So Davis's Law is a little different. It has to do with the soft tissue, right? So let's say you just want to gain better flexibility. Hey, I had a hamstring injury in high school, and I've never been able to touch my toes since. Well, what do we have to do? We have to build up some confidence in that area. So we're going to start putting some demands on the elasticity or the stretch of those muscles. So whether that's grabbing a band, putting it under your legs and pulling down to help increase that range of motion, and of course that resistance, so you can build that confidence and you can remind your brain it's okay. This stretch is not going to damage us. So we'll talk about that as well. All right. What are the outcomes you want? Now, everyone's goal is different, right? Each one of us has a little bit of a different approach of what we're actually looking for. Some people just want to lose weight. Some people want to gain better mobility. Some people just have that old injury, like I said, in high school, that they want to overcome because it didn't fully heal in correctly. And now they're at a place where they're ready to start challenging the body in a way that brings, healing and strength back. So keep that in mind. If it's just losing weight, what do we got to do? Well, first and foremost, we know we need to increase our physical activity, right? You want to burn calories. That's the most important thing with losing weight: calories in versus calories out. Now, I know a lot of people say, like, it's not that simple. It's not just calories in versus calories out. You have to be in a caloric deficit, though. That is the truth. Science repeats over and over again. If you're in a caloric deficit, you are going to start losing weight and burning fat. But if you want to build if you want to lose that weight, if you want to lose fat, you have to build muscle, because in building muscle, we actually require the body to burn more calories for energy alone, because your metabolism is going to increase. Let's just say this: with increasing physical activity, being specific could be as simple as saying, well, I'm someone who works at a desk job, so I don't walk a lot. Well, there we go. We know now we can say, let's start with walking. How many steps a day are you taking right now? If you don't keep track, they got smartwatches now. Even some of the phones, if you can keep them in your pocket, can keep track fairly well. Maybe not as specific, but still start somewhere, right? 100 steps takes about a minute. So if you do 10 minutes of walking, that's 1,000 steps. And research shows that if you walk from 5,000 to 10,000 steps in a day, you actually can decrease your chances of cardiovascular death or disease by upwards of 30%. So that's amazing, right? Because cardiovascular disease is the number one killer in America, killing over 600,000 people a year. And I know that's not you. I know you don't want that to be you. So you're here now to make a change. So keep that in mind. That's more specific now. And now we're tailoring that to your specific needs. If it's just improving mobility, which that's actually something I'm working on now, I know I need to select specific exercises that improve mobility. So what's the difference between mobility and flexibility? Flexibility is how long that muscle can stretch passively. So if you can just sit down or stand there and touch your toes, you're pretty flexible. But if you can actively bring that leg up, so to where you can hold that leg up in a certain position, well, now you're gaining more mobility. So we'll talk about certain mobility drills like hip 90-90s, hip cars, shoulder cars, elephant walks. There's a lot of great movements that are more dynamic. So rather than static stretching, we want to be more dynamic with that movement. So that way, again, we can use that SAID principle to gain more mobility and strength. Arthritis, osteoporosis, I kind of just covered this a little bit. There's a lot of different inflammatory diseases that can actually cause a lot of bone pain, joint pain, and of course, weakness throughout the body that prevents you from moving forward. And so think about it this way. If you have osteoporosis, again, you're not going to jump straight into a high impact exercise. We're going to start light. We're going to do some light weight bearing activities. I don't care if you put a backpack on with some books in it, or if we do a bottoms up carry or just a farmer's carry with a dumbbell or our kettlebell in one hand or both hands, right? We just want to slowly start getting that weight bearing activity going. And the minimum for that should be about 3 times a week. Well, we're going to get more into exactly how many days a week you should be working out for your goals, but I'd say a minimum of 3 times a week is a great starting point. And when we talked about the overcoming the old injuries, again, it's all about building confidence. There's something that we see a lot within, chiropractic, or of course any kind of pain specialist or rehab, which is fear avoidance. A lot of people think of it. Have you ever had an injury, like you rolled an ankle, or you had multiple ankle sprains, and shortly after that you've noticed you're a little bit more timid, you're a little bit more cautious about how you move and how you use your ankle and how you load that ankle? Well, I don't want to injure my back again. I don't want another disc herniation, so I'm never squatting again and I'm never deadlifting. I've heard friends or family actually, and even patients talk like that, and I have to say, hold on. That tells us that you're avoiding that movement simply out of fear that you're going to make it worse. Now, imagine if I could help you build up that confidence again and build up that skill to where you can actually do those movements without pain, and in fact, help that make you stronger. If none of these like make sense to you, or like these just aren't calling your name, they're not resonating with you, just pick one, just pick two for now, and let's get into that. We'll shape your program around exactly what you need. So you can always reach out to me and talk about your specific needs or wants. So speaking of shaping your program, here we go. So talking about the time. So how much time should you invest in the gym? One of the biggest reasons I think people quit is on their goals is because they're trying to do too much too soon. So let's figure out how many days or a week that you can train without burning out, right? So if I want to work out 4 days a week, well, let's start with 3. That's a good tip. Start with less than your actual target or goal, because then you're going to avoid that burnout. If I want to work out 5 days a week and I go straight for 5, well, what's going to happen is on that 5th day, or on that second week on the 5th day, you're going to be a little burnt out. You're going to be sore. You're going to be tired. You're not giving your body enough time to adapt, rest, and recover. So therefore, you're most likely going to say, well, I'm just too sore. I can't make it. I can't do it. Right. So let's start with what? Let's start with what you can do. So if I want to do 4, I'm going to start with 3 to 6 sessions per week, but let's go on that low end for now. And how many minutes should I spend in the gym? I really believe that if you're doing it right, you shouldn't spend more than 60 minutes in the gym. Personally, I like to go at least 3 times a week. Those are my non-negotiables, and I'm in there for maybe 45 minutes. I'm in and out. I go in there, I do my workouts. I'm not talking, I'm not chit-chatting. In fact, I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm someone who likes to learn while I work out. So I listen to podcasts, audiobooks, things like that. You don't have to do that, but it's just, again, another way of reaching your goals and making sure you're increasing your productivity without losing any gains. So consistency is key, you guys. Consistency over everything. So even if some days you just don't have the energy, you feel like you're too tired to work out, just go. I don't care if you do 4 sets, 5 sets, even if you're in there for 25 minutes rather than 30. Developing that routine, developing that regimen is going to be a lot better than you saying, well, I'll just go tomorrow. Because let's be honest, when tomorrow comes, you're not going. All right. Because things pop up, life happens. So keep that in mind. All right. So how much time can you commit right now? Let's say we got what's our split? 3 day, 4 day, 5 days, 6 day. How many days are you going to go to the gym in a week? I'm going to be honest with you. 6 days is a lot more on the advanced side of things. So even myself, I've never really gone to the gym 6 days in a row. That doesn't mean I wasn't physically active. So there's a difference, right? I'm still physically active on some days. So if I have an off day, I might still go to play some basketball or play some pickleball, right? That's really big right now. Or I'll go for a walk with my dogs and my wife. Just again, trying to increase physical activity is going to be good, but specifically, how many days are you going to work out with a specific routine? So 3 days is pretty simple. That's the beginner side of things. And now we talk about the split. So are you doing upper, lower, full body? Think of it this way. If on Monday, that's my best way to start my workout for the week, I'm going to do upper body. On Tuesday, let's say it's the only other time I can work out. Well, if you have to work out 2 days in a row, you're not going to do upper Monday, upper Tuesday. That wouldn't make sense for you. You're not giving your body enough time to rest, adapt, and recover. So you'll do Monday upper, Tuesday lower, and Wednesday full body. Or you do a nice split where you go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now you're giving yourself a full day to recover. So if by Friday, you're doing a full full body routine, an upper and a lower, well, now you got a little bit more time to recover, and your muscles aren't as sore. So you kind of avoid that DOMS, we call it, delayed onset muscle soreness. And then, of course, we can talk about push pull, hinge versus squat. So we can get a little bit more specific with that. And then you'll see I always throw in a little bit of core on some of those off days or active days, active rest days. Keep that in mind, you guys. And if here's that tip down here, if you're a busy worker, stick with 3 times a week for now. Even if you do 2, I don't even care if you do 2. It helps you kind of start that routine. And here's a nice little guideline. You guys can screenshot this, have this. This is for you. So on that 3-day split, we're doing upper body, lower body, and a full body day, like I said. So this is perfect if you can only hit the gym 3 times a week. That 6-day split, however, breaks each muscle group out across multiple days. So that's great for your advanced lifters. And one more time, notice we're not doing upper body 2 days in a row and then lower 2 days in a row. We're kind of trying to space it out to give our body time to recover. Selection. All right. So here we go. How are we going to choose our exercises? What comes first? What goes last? I will tell you like this. If you do your compound lifts first, so your harder activities like your full body squat or your deadlift or your bench press, those harder lifts first will actually be better for you because you're fresh. So think of it this way. If I do all my accessories, I do all my seated, my cable work, I do all of my seated dumbbell work and things like that. Then I get to my bench press. Well, now I'm tired. Now I'm fatigued. I'm actually putting my body at more risk to be more susceptible for injury, right? So I'm going to do those harder workouts first so that I'm fresh. And then afterwards, then I go ahead and finish my accessory lifts. How much are rep ranges should you be aiming for? Now, I actually, a lot of this presentation that I used today actually is inspired by a colleague of mine, Dr. Brandon Parker. He's really awesome. He does a lot of great work, and I actually inspire to be doing a lot of what he's doing already. So that you can thank him for a lot of this information. Real awesome guy, real great clinician. Anyway, what he says is, and he made a really great point. He said there's bro theory science, which says, "Ooh, don't mind my dog. Hey, quiet down, please." She gets a little anxious. So we're talking about that bro theory, which says, well, if you want to get strength, you have to do 1 to 5 reps at a certain resistance. And if you want to gain muscle, you have to do 8 to 15 reps. And if you want to get endurance, it's anything over 15. The truth is, and I think with anything in life, there's a spectrum. So whether you're on that lower side of that spectrum or the higher side, you can actually still grow muscle. So hypertrophy, we call it, the muscle actually growing, can go anywhere from 5 reps to 30 reps. And if you want better endurance or more cardiovascular health, you want to increase that cardiovascular health, then you're going to do anywhere between that 15 and above. But now the question is how much resistance in between? How hard is that exercise in between? I'm not going to throw on 100-pound dumbbells and think that I'm going to curl that for 30 reps and still gain muscle. It's just not going to happen. So think of it this way. How many sets should you do? 2 to 3 sets per exercise is a pretty gold standard. And I'll talk about supersets and that in a second too, and how I use those. But another way to keep track is 10 to 20 sets per week. So if you're doing more than 20 sets per week and you're not really tired, I would say this, if you're doing more than 20 sets a week, you're probably not doing hard enough weights or enough resistance to keep your body growing optimally. Reps in reserve. Dr. Parker talks about this too, comparative to what we call an RPE, rate of perceived exertion. I love the RIR, and I'm going to utilize this a lot with my clients as well from here on out, which is just aim for 1 to 2 reps short of failure. So it basically just says how much do you have left in the tank. So we talked about that. If we're doing 3 sets of 10, you get to that last set and you can get to 10, but you might be able to get 11. You might be able to get 12. Great. You're doing it good. But if you get to that last set and you go, I could probably do 5 more. Well, then chances are you're not doing enough weight. All right. I hope that's making sense. So it just kind of depends on your goals and how everything ties back into your SMART goals. So you got the basics down. How do we progress safely over time? That's where intensifying your workouts comes in. So how are we going to progress? It's all about progressive overload, right? So here's a good rule. Increase your weights. That's what we've been talking about. That's kind of the idea. it's either increasing your weights or your repetitions gradually. I'm not saying that I'm going to come in one day doing bicep curls or a bench press 135 for 10 reps, and then all of a sudden the next week I'm going to throw on 185 for 10 reps. Here's a good rule of thumb. The 2 for 2 rule is awesome. So here's what you're going to do. If I can do at the end of my third set, I can get that 10, but I know that I can get 12. I'll do 12. Great. Do that for 2 weeks in a row. If you can do that 2 weeks in a row, now you know it's time to go up. I actually had a client who forgot about the 2 for 2 rule, and so they went through maybe a month of training, and they said, I'm plateauing on this bench press. I'm not getting, or the squat, it was a squat, so they're like, I'm not getting where I should be, I don't think. Like, what do I do? And I said, are you doing the 2 for 2 rule? And they're like, oh no, I completely forgot about that. What's that? So I had to remind them, make sure if you can do 2 more after that last set for 2 weeks in a row, you're ready to go up. And you're not going up by 30 pounds. You're only going to gradually increase by maybe 5 pounds. I don't care if you're putting 2.5 pounds on each side to go up 5, or 5 pounds each side to go up 10 total. Now, rest times. How long do you rest in between those exercises? Less than 1 minute is pretty ideal for cardiovascular training. So you're not really giving your body enough time to completely recover, but at the same time, you're pushing that body so you can increase what we call lactic threshold. And that's very optimal for if you're doing like the marathon training. We want to increase that lactic threshold. So a good workout for cardiovascular means you're feeling the burn, right? So when you feel that burn, that's that lactic acid building up in the muscle. So it means you're doing it good. Now, for strength and hypertrophy, it's a little bit more lax. In fact, you really can take as much time as you need in between sets, for real. 2 to 3 minutes, if you need a number, is a great gold standard. That's something that I like to do on that lower side of 2 minutes or 3 minutes to give my body time to recover between sets. The next thing that I didn't really cover in here was expanding range of motion. I've seen plenty of people, you ever seen those lat pull downs on the cables? You'll see people getting into those, and they'll either do one of two things. They'll come down right to that chin and they'll just swing back up, or they'll lean back and they'll just go like this. Great. But what are you missing? First of all, you're not coming all the way down to that full range of motion, so you're not actually utilizing the full strength of your lats, and you're not even adding a pause. If you add a pause at the end, just simply holding here and then slowly coming back up, now you're really challenging that muscle. So that's the principle of time under tension. Sorry about that. They get a little anxious, man. I don't understand. They just don't like the silence, apparently. So time under tension has to do with this. The gold standard for time under tension is pretty simple. Concentric is down. So if we're coming down, we can come down kind of quick, but eccentric is when we're contracting as the muscle's getting longer. And I'll hold that for about anywhere from 2 to 8 seconds. So down, up, 1, 2, 3, and that's good, right? All right. I hope that helps. Again, your body's going to adapt as you impose those new demands. So if you keep track of your sets, reps, and how you feel, you're going to keep challenging yourself at the right pace. And then, of course, let's talk about how we put this all together. So remember, set a SMART goal. It has to be specific. It has to be measurable. Is it attainable to you? And then, of course, using the SAID principles. What are those specific adaptations that your body's going to make depending on what demands you place on it? So we want to progress steadily, right? What schedule can you actually do when you get in the gym? So whether you want to lose weight, if you want to build muscle, or you just want to move pain-free, the principles are the same. You just have to apply them to your unique circumstances. So if you need help, you guys, that's what I'm here for. This is what I'm passionate about. And if none of this really helped you in a way where you're like, I feel confident, I'm ready to go, reach out to me. Right now is the best time to reach out to me. This is when I'm going to have the most time available to help people as much as possible. So Bnxtlvl Health, I can help create a plan that's tailored to your goals, your schedule, and of course, your limitations. So I hope this helped. And I just want to say thank you so much if you stuck with me all the way through. I hope I gave you a clear roadmap so that you guys can get started on your fitness journey. And please just subscribe, like, drop a comment. If there's any exercises I didn't highlight, feel free to check my description. I should drop some information there for you guys, a PDF, things that you can take for free, because again, this is something I'm passionate about, and I just really want to start helping people reach their goals and live a happier, healthier lifestyle. So before I leave, remember, what are the 3 pillars of health? Physical health, mental health, and then we can talk about spiritual or social health and well-being. Depending on your goals, I can talk about either or and help you guys develop a better mindset, mentality, and get you in a place where you feel confident to keep moving forward in your life. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day. Bye.